Always remember, your focus determines your reality. Stay close to me, and you'll be safe.
Hey guys, hope you're having a good Father's Day today. Today we're going to try to start this new series for GA Championships, getting ready for the new GA, and basically the series is going to be going over certain factions in the game that are really good for GAs, defensively, offensively, and the Zeta order you want to include, mod guides, and just a general strategy of the team. So today we're going to be starting off with my one of my favorite factions actually in the game, which is the Bounty Hunters. And the Bounty Hunters are very easy faction to acquire in this game, I think. And yeah, I think without further ado, guys, let's get into it. So when it comes to GA, you can either use a defensive Bounty Hunters or an offensive. And for the most part, you want to go defensive Bounty Hunters because this guy right here, Bossk, is the must-have guy on the team if you want to run this defensively. The Zeta on this makes it so Bounty Hunters gain 5% HP and protection. So a lot of survivability to this team, a lot more max protection, more tenacity, and 100% defense when they're at full HP. So Bossk really is the must-have here on any of these teams. Doesn't matter if he's the lead, if he's not the lead. But for right now, we're going to be talking the defensive part, so let's keep going. The others that I would consider and recommend using, there's about 3 of them besides Bossk, and then the others are kind of optional. I would really recommend getting Jango Fett, Boba Fett, and Dengar. Those 3 are almost a necessary thing to have on any of these Bounty Hunter teams. So, with that in mind, with these 2 Fett guys, Jango and Boba, the good thing about these in GA is that you have to burn through them once to get through them and kill them because they have Mandalorian Resolve, so it's a little bit tougher to kill these guys. Boba Fett does have a cool Zeta, but right now we're going to just go over the main guys you want to run. We'll go later on and talk about the Zeta order. So yeah, keep in mind that these, the top row right here, the 4, are really the ones you want to go for in any of these teams. I think these are the best 4 Bounty Hunters in the game we have right now. And let's get into the optional ones. So down here, Embo is a Bounty Hunter that I don't have geared up or anything like that. I would say to still work on these 4 right here in the top. Embo is probably close that you could, he's close enough to be that spot so he could take over one of those 4, but I would just say to stay away from him when you're using this team. He is really good, and if you want to use him in this team, that's not bad at all. He's a great character all around for Bounty Hunters, and if you want to throw him in with a 4, that's a complete 5 team there, and they'll be fine. But for the optional people here, I really like Zam. Zam gives out thermal detonators. You can see the special right here, a lot of thermals. Whenever she pops a thermal with her basic, she gains more TM. So a lot of TM manipulation, a lot of thermals going and being on the field. And on this, she, let's see, that's her unique. So she has 2 uniques. I think it's this one here, Shapeshifter, which is kind of cool that she gains these extra increases depending on different scoundrel allies, and that's pretty cool, I think. And I think Zam is going to be the next one you want to look into. Other than that, though, I would probably look after Cad Bane and Greedo. Those 2 are a little bit more tanky. I wouldn't say consider them super tanky, but they're a lot more heavy when it comes to the HP protection pool. I do think Cad is a little bit better than Greedo. He has a double tap on his basic. He has a stun, and it goes through Foresight, and he can stun them and dispel all the buffs, which is super nice when you're trying to get through tanks like Crew, or anybody who has a taunt really in this game. And he gains a little bit more CC and CD from his unique. So I think Cad is a little bit better than Greedo, and then down here, Greedo. Here you have it. A lot of thermals similar to Zam. I just think Zam is better. She specializes more in the thermal detonator category. He has another similar thing to Cad Bane's. He can remove the buffs, gain the TM back from the TM that he removed. A lot of cool stuff here in Greedo. There's nothing really that sucks about Greedo. He's pretty good. I just recommend these other 2 before him. And then IG really doesn't fit too well in any of these teams. He's super squishy for one. Getting his damage ramped up is kind of hard because you need the debuffs. Early on, it's kind of hard to do that, and I will kind of stick away from IG. He does fit well into a JTR team with the droids, or now we have a Grievous team you can use, which I think is a little bit better than using him in Bounty Hunters. And that leads us to chat about or seeing last. She's at the bottom here. Same thing with Embo. I don't have her or Embo really up to par to use at all. I really don't like her at all, guys. I just find it hard to fit her in any of these teams. I think she's a cool character. I just find it hard to use her in these GA teams and then how you want to split up the team in general. So I would try to stick away from using that in the main priority bounty hunter team you want to use with Bossk. So I would just try to stick away from her. So right now, my favorite teams for using bounty hunters in GA for defensively are these two right here. My favorite one being the top one with Bossk right here being the lead. Like I said earlier, his lead gives a lot more survivability to the bounty hunters as a whole. And then we have Zam as there as a fifth, and you could potentially swap out Zam for either Cad Bane, Greedo, or Embo. I try to stick away from IG-88. I just don't like him in any of these teams. And then below that, I do enjoy using Jango Fett in this as a defensive team. You can use this offensively if you would like. The reason I like this a lot is because you come here to Jango Fett's leadership. He's going to be giving extra speed. And pretty much the extra speed, I really don't even need to go in to talk about that, but pretty much the extra speed, we come back here. He's going to be giving Bossk extra speed. My Bossk is pretty fast, and typically you want to have a faster Bossk, so that way he can get off his taunt. The taunt gives out Frenzy, and then whoever goes next, which is probably going to be Zam or Jango Fett, they'll do their special. He's going to get another turn, and just kind of go a domino effect back and back and back with his turns. So I really like that part when it comes to Jango lead because you can go a little bit faster than the other team, get off some really cool debuffs and stuns and stuff like that to stop them. But I think these are kind of, I wouldn't say they're equally the same when it comes to defense. I think Bossk can prove to be a little bit tougher to go through because they're just so much more tanky. So that's how I feel about these teams and which ones you want to kind of go for. So the Zeta order in these bounty hunter teams is very simple, very straight to the point. Bossk. Bossk is the one you need. Don't worry too much about his unique when he gets the taunt, or what is it actually? It's when he loses the taunt, he gains it back. So don't worry about that too much. Just worry about his leadership with gaining extra HP and protection whenever they suffer a debuff or resist a debuff. So that's what you want to go for first. After that, if you want to go for Jango Fett, I really recommend using this one here. I don't have it, but I've heard great things about it. I've seen a lot of good footage on it. Enemies defeated on this turn can't be revived. So this is huge when fighting some guys that do have revive but just can't get revived. Or if you are fighting, like, let's say an Ewok team, you probably don't want to be using bounty hunters versus Ewoks, but if you are, Ewok Elder could potentially revive. But if you kill somebody like Chirpa in this team and Ewok Elder is there, he can't revive or do anything like that. Same thing goes with the Night Sisters and Daka. So I think that's a great Zeta to have and to look for secondly. And then third, I would go for Boba Fett. Boba Fett's Zeta is Bounty Hunter's Resolve, and if you kill somebody on a finishing blow, he recovers 100% of his protection. So that's pretty big on some of these teams if you want to try to time it right so you can kill somebody, get all the protection back, and then you'll be better off in the rest of the battle. So I would say that those three are kind of necessary Zetas if you want to plan on running these guys in GA. Other than that, though, for optional Zetas, I would say Bossk is probably an optional Zeta for his unique, the taunt, and any of these other guys, Dengar, Cad, Zam, Greedo, IG, any of those, like even Embo and Aura down there, those are all optional in my opinion. You don't need those to work very well. And also, if you want to, I have no problem with this Zeta 2 on Jango. This is a great one, but we're kind of focused on the Bossk lead. And you can't have two leads, so I would kind of stay away from using this one. I think Bossk is a little bit better. If you do plan on going this route with Jango lead, that's a great lead as well. I do like Bossk a little bit better. I just find that Jango's a bit better on offense and attacking wise than Bossk is. So that's just how I feel it. And let's get on to the video. So when it comes to modding these guys, it's very simple. For Bossk, in particular, you want to go for HP protection, a lot of defense, a lot of tenacity, especially the tenacity part. The tenacity, when tacked onto his leadership, he's going to be gaining 50% more tenacity from his leadership, and you want to try to get his tenacity from the mods up as high as you possibly can, because the main counter to these guys is going to be JTR. If you can bump up the Bossk tenacity over 100 or close to it, it's going to be hard for the JTR guys to do mind tricks and reduce the TM and inflicting all those debuffs. So I would really recommend going for a tenacity build and HP and protection build as well. Mine is only around 44k HP and 50k protection. I do recommend going a little bit higher than that. I did go for some speed though instead. So tenacity and HP protection, that's really what you want to shoot for here. So right now my Django is only 6-star. I'm farming him right now currently. And he's only geared 11. I can't get him geared 12 until I get him 7-star. So the modding and how I think Django should be modded in any team should just be straight up crit damage, crit chance in offense. Same thing goes with Boba Fett. We'll get onto him in a little bit. So right now I could easily get these mods better. I'm just not really too worried about using these guys because I gotta kind of figure out my mods before I do any GA stuff. So right now, you want to try to max out his crit damage, only at 216 now. Offense and crit chance are pretty good, I'd say, right now. Easily can get that number up for the damage. And his speed, you really want Django to be kind of faster in these teams because of his burning he can inflict, and that can really get the train going for these teams and getting the contracts done. So onto Boba Fett next. We can see that it's a very similar set here. I kind of think potency is a little bit better here instead of the crit chance because of his AoEs. Yeah, I guess you can go the same thing with Jango Fett. Potency really helps here. The ability blocks though with Jango Fett's AoE are really, or when Boba Fett's AoE are really big when you want to kind of, you know, try to not make these guys get their turns off. And depending on who you're fighting, ability blocks are really, really huge, or just really huge in general. I mean, ability blocks really shut down teams. So I would actually go for an extra protection build because, like I said earlier about his Zeta, he gains all of his protection back after he kills somebody. So a lot of protection would be very great here. Max out his crit damage. I'm not saying mine is perfect. I'm just saying that this is kind of what you want to shoot for here. So max out his crit damage, max out his, or try to max out and get a lot of crit chance and damage. Same thing with Jango Fett. And then potency is really key here as well. Speed doesn't matter too much, I wouldn't say. That should be more towards Bossk. If you're going to run Zam in here, Zam should be really quick on your team, and also Jango Fett. So Dengar, right now my mods are totally all over the place, but Dengar's mods are similar to that of Bossk's mods. Trying to get as much tenacity on as you can is going to be great here, trying to ward off all the debuffs, but he does have a built-in unique here, Grizzled Veteran. Whenever he gets a crit, he's going to get stealth. Whenever he suffers a status effect, a negative status effect, he's going to gain tenacity up. So right there, you don't need to worry too much about tenacity, but his survivability, his HP protection are really great and really huge here. You want to try to bump it up as much as you can. He's going to be assisting a lot because of his unique, and pretty much if he can survive as much as possible, he can get more of these mini mine mayhems. Wow, that's a tongue twister. Out on the field, a lot of thermals can synergize well with Zam, and he has a nice little stun here and a call to assist on his basics. So here on Dengar, it's kind of similar to that of Bossk. You kind of want to get him as tanky as you can and make him just survive as long as possible. So here for Zam, you want to go for speed, speed, speed. Don't worry too much about the HP protection. Just worry about speed. I mean, the more chances and more times you can get those thermals off, the greater chance you have of getting the contracts completed and getting all those cool buffs and payouts that they receive. So try to go for some speed. Try to go for some HP protection. Don't worry too much about the crit damage. Don't worry too much about the crit chance or offense. Just worry about speed, protection, HP. Very simple here on Zam. So when it comes to attacking on offense, you can use Bounty Hunters versus Night Sisters. I think it's a great counter. There's just a lot of counters to Night Sisters right now. You can use EP Vader, you can use the Triumvirate, you can use a lot of different teams here. Night Sisters in particular, they have a lot of revives, so when you do want to throw in Jango Fett, right now in this footage we don't have Jango Fett, but you could throw in Jango Fett. He could get a lot of these different people killed on his turns. Doc can't revive, Talzin can't bring him back from the dead, a lot of cool things there. So this is just kind of sped up because I want to go talk about JTR also on and how you want to go versus those guys when you're attacking, or when they're on defense rather. So there we go, we got through Doc once, and now we're going to try to finish him up here. trying to get the contract done as well, trying to hit the debuffed enemies. Kind of tough though when zombies on the field because of their taunt. It's like non-stop going to be there. That's why we have a lot of AoEs. We have Boba Fett here with Mandalorian Resolve. He can attack out of turn, or he can attack out of the taunt. He can attack anybody really. Same goes with Jango if you were to run him. But this kind of just goes to show that you don't need Jango to fight Night Sisters. Anybody that has a lot of AoEs here that can do a lot more hits so they can get the contract off a little bit quicker is really good in this team. So you can see here the Bossk Zeta for his leadership is just going to work. All of these debuffs is just getting him a lot more protection HP back. And I mean, it's just working really great so far. And we got a little bit longer in this video, and then yeah, I just want to go over the JTR and then we'll wrap it up there. So here we go. So here we have the JTR team here, and pretty much here it's kind of tough to really have these guys stay and get more than one hold on defense. It's just kind of how it is when the opponent has JTR. The tenacity kind of does help if you have a little bit higher, but even then, if you do want to use with JTR her first special, when she calls in a BB-8 to assist, he's going to be inflicting tenacity down, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But it's just really, any of these teams, I can say that they're good on defense, but I can't really guarantee you that they're going to hold well. These guys are kind of, you can put them in either offensively or defensively for the bounty hunters, and it just kind of gets destroyed, as you can see here. It's really sped up to show you guys that even if you do have a high tenacity Bossk, it will work for the most part if the opponent plays it wrong, which can happen sometimes, but if the opponent knows exactly what they're doing, it's going to be kind of tough here. So I would just kind of say that Bounty Hunters are a great team. I still recommend them on defense, but they still can get, you know, kind of destroyed here, as you can see. So we saw the video on JTR just kind of thrashing on our Bossk team. So that's kind of why I'm going to now bring up the point where Jango Fett really can be a good defensive team here. You get all the speeds up and make it so Bossk can go first, making sure that his taunt can go, like I said previously, and then the other people's in this team, the other bounty hunters, can get their turns and then can just kind of keep cycling back and forth throughout their turns. So I think that's a pretty good defensively rounded team. I just think for the starting off players, Bossk is still going to be a great all-around team for GA. Endgame players, if you do have Jango Fett and you kind of want to run a good defensive team in GA, I would recommend using the Jango team here, making sure the speeds are kind of high, because this can kind of become a problem for the opponent who's attacking you, because it's kind of hard to figure out who you want to go for first. If you want to go for Jango, because he's going to be, you know, having his bounty hunters resolve, it's going to be hard to get through him, especially if the contract can go off. That way he has damage immunity and it's really hard to get through him. So I think how it is now with bounty hunters in the game, for starting off players, go with the Bossk. That's a great team for defensively. If you're an endgame player like I am, I kind of prefer using the Jango Fett team. So really quickly, let's do an overview of this entire video, Zeta order, mod guide, stuff like that. So Zeta order, you want to go for Bossk's leadership first, Jango's unique second. Depending on if you want to use his leadership, you can bump that up into that as well in the second or third category, or in third lineup. And then fourthly, I would use Boba Fett's Zeta last. All on the modding here, you want to go for protection HP on any of these guys here. Jango and Boba Fett, you want to go for crit damage, crit chance, offense. Bossk, you want to go for tenacity and a lot of HP protection. Dengar, same thing as Bossk. Zam, you want to use speed. CAD, you want to use HP protection. Same goes pretty much anybody here, guys. So that's kind of it, guys. There really isn't too much to go into when it comes to bounty hunters. They're a very simple and easy faction to talk about. If you guys think I missed anything or left out anything, or maybe I did a good job, let me know in the comments. I'm going to try to keep this going. I'm going to do, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next, actually. I might do First Order, I might do Night Sisters, I'm not too sure, but this is going to be kind of like an overview guide to the Zeta order to the certain team, the mod guide to the certain team, and how you kind of want to play it out. So that's kind of how it is for the bounty hunters. And I just want to finish this up by saying I appreciate you guys being here watching my video. If you guys enjoyed it, let me know. Hit the like button. Share with others, and sub to my channel if you guys like this content. You can see here below me I got my Discord and my Patreon link, so go check out the Discord, go check out Patreon if you want to help support the Patreon. But other than that, guys, I will see you later.
Nice.